We are back on Inside Politics. Our guest today, House Speaker Beth Harwell from Nashville. Madam Speaker, before we get into anything else, I want to ask one more question in the transportation area. There's also this $6.5 billion 25-year mass transit program that's been put out for Nashville. It's not directly related to the gas tax, but they're also likely to be coming, Mayor Berry and some of the other surrounding mayors from other communities, to talk to you and the governor about some way to help them find options financially to be able to start building this. Are you supportive of this plan? Have you had a chance to review it? Have they talked to you?
They have talked to me. I have not seen the plan or reviewed it. Primarily, they've talked to me about enabling legislation that would allow them to raise the money locally for this project.
It would be your understanding then that the kind of thing the legislature would pass, the role of the state would be to allow this enabling legislation. Would you also think within that situation you would have the local legislative body approving whatever funding there would be, and then that would be done with a referendum by the public after that?
Absolutely. I think this really is a decision that the citizens have to make as to if they want to spend this money.
Well, there's been some talk about maybe that would be an option for a sales tax, might be an option for some other kind of property tax or something else. I mean, Tennessee's pretty limited in what it allows people to put taxes on,
right,
especially income. So
right,
do you have any preferences about what you would be open to and what things you would not be open to in terms of funding sources?
No, I will wait to listen to them, but I'm actually quite glad that we do have a very limited tax source because that's good for Tennesseans.
Moving on to something else, the state attorney general this week has basically struck down or said it's illegal a couple of laws that have been passed both in Nashville and Memphis that would lighten the punishments for people who possess small amounts of marijuana. Do you expect the attorney general's ruling is just advisory? It has no force in law, but do you expect your members to be bringing you legislation that would actually say that bill has been nullified?
I don't know that I will see that. I think it would be wise for Metro Nashville to take a firm look at what the Attorney General has ruled, because I think he's accurate. You know, I do think that the issue, and I think most of my legislators would agree, the issue with drug use is how do we maybe not I think we need to look at seeking help for these people and treatment for these people rather than criminalization and locking them up. I don't know that that's the correct avenue to take. But
we see all across the country the actual use and selling of marijuana being made legal. This was done in many other states just this past election. Tennessee and more is going to be isolated in doing this. Now, the federal government has not changed, but right, are you going to find that your members are going to start moving on that? They already started to move a little bit of that in terms of medical marijuana. Medical
marijuana has passed the legislature, and I see that kind of broadening because it does have some legitimate use in the medical profession. And, you know, we will have to wait and see what the General Assembly believes in as far as recreational use. I don't foresee that happening, but we will let the General Assembly act.
But this may be one of those generational changes that over time we'll see, as you were talking earlier about using Uber instead of having their own cars. I mean, the younger generation may have different ideas about that than people of our age.
That's true. But keep in mind, you know, this is smoking, and there's carcinogenic effects as well. This is not completely safe or harmless, the use of marijuana.
Now let's move on to politics. One cycle ends, another begins. Your name is on all the lists of people who might be interested in running for governor in 2018 on the Republican side. That will be an open seat. We've talked about this before. What is your interest?
Well, you know, I will evaluate that. I think I'd like most Tennesseans, most Americans, I think they want a little break from electioning and politicking right now, but I plan on enjoying the holidays and will make a decision after that.
Do you have any particular timetable in your mind about when you might start thinking about this?
Well, I think about it. I've already thought about it, but I think as far as a decision, I'm not going to do anything until after the holidays, and I don't think anyone should.
Now, there's one potential candidate who's thinking about running for governor, Mark Green, who's a senator in the upper chamber from Clarksville. He says he's going to be holding a series of statewide meetings, I assume, to talk to the voters, these sort of listening tours we've talked about. Have you got any, you thinking about any tours on your agenda or your travel schedule?
I travel this state all the time. I've been in all 95 counties many times, both as party chairman and now as speaker. I was in McMinnville yesterday speaking to the Chamber of Commerce, so I'm across the state on a regular basis.
So if we see you out on the rubber chicken circuit here after the first of the year, we'll give you the holidays, that Is that an indication of anything one way or the other?
You know, I do that as in my role as speaker. I try to be in every one of my members' districts on a pretty regular basis.
One of the reasons these campaigns start so early is people have to go out and raise the money. Takes an awful lot of money to run statewide, either governor or for the U.S. Senate. Does that sort of give you a window of opportunity? Because sometimes you wait too late, the opportunity to raise that money is gone.
Yeah, and of course we're both Senator Green and I would be forbidden from raising money during the legislative session, January through usually May.
You've seen the list as I have. Anybody on there that might keep you from saying, well, if that person runs, I'll probably continue
we
to
don't
stay
know
in the House.
And there'll probably be more people that'll be interested in it. You know, the interesting thing is that this state is definitely a Republican state now, so I wouldn't be surprised you see 12 people, a dozen people running for governor on the
I
Republican
can remember
side.
when Democrats had that many running. 1974, they ran that many people. You really think it could be that large a field?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I do, but there'll be people that will be interested in and drop out, and then there'll be more people that put their name in. You know, the thing is, we have so much going for us in this state. This is a beautiful, wonderful state that has been well managed. A lot of people would be interested.
Now, one of the people on the other side, and actually both of them are from Nashville, and one of them might be Carl Dean, who you've worked with when he was mayor of Nashville and you were state representative. Would he be an interesting person to run against as a Democrat?
Carl Dean, I think a great deal of Carl Dean. I think I personally like him. I think he's done a great deal for this city, especially in the area of education reform. So I respect him tremendously.
One thing I noticed about the list that's out there right now on the Republican side is there are a number of women. It used to be there, if you were lucky, if there was one in the list. Now there's 2, 3, maybe even more than that looking at it. It used to be thought that there was an advantage to be the woman in the race. Is that, if you're going to have 13 people, you may have well more than that. So how do people perceive women voters these days, particularly after what happened with Hillary Clinton?
Well, I think Tennesseans would like the opportunity to support a woman in a leadership role in our state, but it needs to be a qualified woman, and that is right on the issues.
Speaker Harwell, thank you so much for coming. I'm sure we'll have you back in when the legislature starts back.
Thank you so much, Pat.
And thank you for joining us this week on Inside Politics. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.